Okay. Hey there, everybody. So, we're going to be starting to do our... we can just kind of jump right into it. As you can see right down here, 5 donation spots available. So, what that means is that... Well, first thing it means is that we're dealing with 5 donation spots, okay? And so what I'm going to do is we're going to try doing this here. And so we just have 5 donation spots, okay? So it just means that when the 5 donation spots are done, I'm done. Right, so that's kind of the whole deal that we're focusing on here. So if you guys have a question, it goes to 4 donation spots. And if you guys have another question after that, then it's 3. Now, if you want to do 3 questions, okay, for the 25 that we've talked about, that would be just 1 donation spot that would be taken up. But if you want to do, 1 question twice, that would be 2 donation spots. And so it's kind of like we have to plan this out. So 5 people is what we're going to be doing today. We're just going to be doing this for 5 people. So it's kind of a first come, first serve kind of thing here. And I normally don't do these on Tuesdays. I'm normally Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. But this time, we're trying something a little bit different. So this is going to be a Tuesday reading that we're going to do. Probably not going to jump too far into... Just going to do that here and then move back a little bit. So probably not going to jump too far back into all this stuff, but anyway, regardless, right? Let's see what we can do here. So I'm gonna light an incense like we normally do, and then we can go from there. Okay, so let's do that. Let's get an incense lit. That one's still going a little bit, so we'll wait just a second. I'm gonna actually set this up here to this. Okay, so we have the right time there. And so yeah, first come, first serve, if any of you guys are wondering. This is a Mario Koopa shell right here. Very nice. Very nice. I should have put that back. I don't know why I brought it with me. All right. So, with that being the case, whenever you guys are ready, I'll be ready. I'm going to actually lower this just a teensy bit here. There we go, and zoom out just a little bit. Okay, there we go. I'm sorry I keep adjusting things here. Okay. So yes, 5 donation spots are available, as it says there. So we'll wait for our first person to come on here, and in the meantime, I will be doing some doodles here. So actually I'll do this right here. Let's move here. Gonna be going like this. I am sorry about this, guys. I'm just gonna get set up here. Had to get my charger for my phone here. Here we go. All right. It's a little harder for me to see. Okay. All right, so yeah, at one donation spot here. So when you guys are ready, we can go from there. So let's do this and see where we can go. I have no idea what I was saying there. While we're waiting for people, we can sort of just chat here. I'll do a little bit of art in my iPad here. I drew one last night that I thought was good. Something kind of fun here. And let me do this. Hello, iRise, how are you doing? How's everything going for you, my friend? Welcome to the channel. I don't think I've seen you before. Oh, good. Good. Where are you vacationing to, iRise? I'm doing good, my friend. Thank you so much for asking. The Dominican Republic. Nice, nice. How is it there? How is it in the Dominican Republic? I actually don't know that much about the Dominican Republic, so you'll have to pardon me if I seem ignorant a little bit. It's weird. How, mind elaborating how it's weird, if you wouldn't mind? Well, yeah, okay, the pandemic, that makes sense. That makes a lot of sense, actually. Because it seems like things are normal, even though the variant is supposed to be worse. Yeah, I've kind of noticed that too. And I've heard the variant's going to be worse as well. Maybe that kind of gives it a spooky effect, right? Like you're in a situation and it seems kind of eerie that other people are just kind of chilling. so to speak. Planes packed, etc. It's like the news says one thing in public is a different experience. Yeah, I've definitely, that seems to be how it is here where I am too, just in the United States. But yeah, that seems to be the thing. So Anita Raj, I'm not doing free readings. It's $10 a question. I do have 5 spots that are open for just tonight. I'm doing 5 spots, and so $10 a question. I do spend a lot of time on questions, and I can also do energy clearings and energy healing as well. So if there's any physical symptoms or like emotional stuff that you feel like needs working on, we can do that as well. But sorry, my friend, no free readings. Thank you for coming by, though. I appreciate you stopping by. So, Irise, when you're not vacationing, are you in the United States usually, or in Europe, or where is it that you come from? What country? Okay, here we got our first. Okay. So we got our first donation of the night, so I'm going to do this. So thank you for whoever donated. I do appreciate that. I will add you to the list. Thank you, my friend. I appreciate that. So let's do this then. So you go ahead with your questions. Yes. Okay, perfect. I got the 20. I got 20 here, so 2 questions. Thank you very, very much, iRise. So you go ahead, post them, and we will work through them, okay? And also, if you wouldn't mind subscribing too, I would appreciate it. You don't have to, but, you know. Anyway, go ahead and post your questions. Let me add you to my list here. All right, let's do that here. Let me put down your amount. And you're saying, what are Janae's intentions towards Amira? Not the best at names that are difficult for me, and there's quite a few. Janae's, okay, let's do that though. Let's see what the intentions are here. Let's use these cards right here. Alright, what are Janae's intentions towards Amira? What are Janae's intentions towards Amira? I'll show you the cards here. I'm just putting them down for me at first. So we get Judgment. Judgment in reverse. And I'll explain what these cards are here in just a second. Then we get Three of Wands in reverse. Again, I'll explain that one in just a second. And then we get the Tower in reverse. So when I'm looking at these cards, I Rise, what I'm seeing here is the intentions must be a little bit skewed, I'm feeling. The reason I say skewed, the reason I bring that up is because to me it seems like when I see the Judgment card in reverse, it feels like we're going against something in a non-like spiritual way. It feels like maybe we're not learning our lessons, or maybe something's happening where we're kind of blocked in a way that we're not seeing the full picture. Or rather, maybe Janae's intentions aren't the full picture. I'll explain what I mean by that. But then I see the Three of Wands, okay? And then I see the Tower card in reverse. Both of these cards being in reverse. Three of Wands is like a card of teamwork, generally. And when I see this in reverse, it's making me think that maybe there's a situation where the other person isn't being completely truthful or honest in their emotions or in their passions or in their kind of way of expressing themselves. It feels like Janae is holding back, or it feels like Amira is holding back. But right here, it feels like both of the kind of connections are not, it doesn't feel like they're firing in quite the right way. The Tower card in reverse, this is an interesting one. So this is what the Tower card looks like when it's upright. Okay, and you'll see there's a burning tower and it's falling to the ground, but you'll see these parts stay because a new tower is going to be built. However, when the tower is in reverse here, I feel like the person is blinded by their own way of seeing the world or by their own biases. So to me, it feels like someone's rushing headlong into something, not knowing exactly what's going on. I feel like there is a tendency to be, what's the word? Impulsive. I feel like there's a tendency to be impulsive, and I feel like there's a tendency to kind of rush into situations without fully gauging what's going on. So far, I Rise, with this right here, we can get more details, of course, but with this right here, what are you thinking here? Okay. 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 Hi, Xena Maldonado. Janae is her father's girlfriend. Okay. Okay. of 7 years. Okay. So Xena Maldonado, how are you doing? Hope you're doing well. I am seeing right here, so we have 4 donation spots available, and it's $10 per question. So there's 4 more people that I'm going to be helping, and then I'm going to be logging off for the night. But let me look here. My daughter always says that she feels left out, not included. Okay. Okay. That makes sense here. Not part of the team. And like they are talking about her through whispering. Okay, so that makes sense. We're not part of the team. There's not a cohesiveness, right? I'm sorry to hear that. Your daughter shouldn't be feeling that at 8, right? That shouldn't be the case. But to me, right here, it does feel like there's willfully people that are kind of ignoring the situation. Or there's willfully someone who I feel like does not get children. They either don't like children, they don't get children, or they don't want them around. But for me, that's kind of what I'm feeling here. When I see judgment in reverse, it's like the reverse spiritual card, right? Just she feels like she's taking her dad away. Okay. Okay. That makes a lot of sense. That makes a lot of sense. So does your... So she's been with this okay. They've been together for 7 years, and now your daughter's not feeling like she's being seen or heard or kind of just validated for being a daughter, just kind of in that sense. She said she is an outsider. Her father and Janae have 2 younger children. Okay. Okay. So that makes sense too. Hence why we have the 3 of Wands here in reverse. There's 3 children, right? There's 3 children, but she's not feeling like she's even one of the she's not feeling like she's there. Yes, most of her life they have been together. Okay. Okay. You're okay. Come here then, buddy. Come here. Okay, that definitely makes sense. That definitely makes sense. And that's something that is very hard to deal with. But I honestly feel like in this situation, it's kind of like, sorry, there was a loud sound outside. In this situation, it's kind of like the father needs to be the one that steps up and does something. The father of the child, not the girlfriend, right? Was the reason why you divorced the father, was he emotionally distant or unavailable when you guys were together? Or maybe not even divorced, but when you guys were together, as she speaks to me about it. That's good. That's good, though, because she has a place she can come to talk to you, right? That's actually a good thing, because it shows that she's comfortable talking to you about difficult things. And so as long as there's that vulnerability that she can come to you and talk about this kind of stuff, even though it's painful and hard for her to deal with, that's good, because she's got someone she can talk to about it. Yes, we did get divorced, LOL. Okay, sometimes, there's no marriage, but there's a child, and then there's a separation. So I was just throwing that at the tape on there, but even though the situation is bad, the fact that there's someone she can come to is good. That's a good thing. But that situation is not exactly an ideal one, obviously. So yeah. Someone who this we were so young, and we were too immature for the marriage. And that that happens. That kind of stuff happens, because I feel like we tend to get married, some of us, right? We'll get married when we're very young. Things will happen. And so I think you're right on the money with that. And it's kind of like you live and you learn, right? But I do feel what your daughter's saying has some validity to it, for sure. Because it feels like the person here isn't the warm, caring, nurturing type, at least not to her. Maybe to her own kids, I'm not sure, but to me, you don't do this kind of stuff. You don't, and obviously I'm thinking you're thinking the same thing here. You don't do this. If there's children in the house, whether they're yours or they're not, you treat them well. And you make it so they don't feel excluded. So that's a situation there that... is it a situation where... does your daughter live with you and then she goes to visit the dad and the girlfriend? Okay, the girlfriend has always been closed off. Okay. She sees them 24 days a year. Okay, so one weekend. Okay, perfect. That's good that she lives with you. That's good because there's stability there. And then the other, 5% or 3% of the year, it's a small percentage of the year, she goes to see them. So one weekend out of a month, she goes to spend time with them. So has your... Sorry, hold on. Has your daughter expressed how she feels to anyone besides you? Or does she not feel comfortable that she could talk to her dad about this? I hear you, bud. She confided in me and spoke with her dad about it, and he denied her feelings, said she is lying, and they have a great relationship. Okay, no, that's not... I'm sorry that's the case. You don't do that, especially to a young child. Since then, I just keep everything she says in between. Perfect, perfect. I Rise, you're doing that. You're doing that beautifully, because if someone is saying, oh, she's lying, or her emotions are not her own, or that's not how it's going on, that's not how she's feeling, if she says this is how she's feeling, this is how she's feeling. And if someone wants to say, no, our relationship's great, she's lying, that person is the one that needs to be casted out, right? That person's the one that needs to be kind of get pushed out of the situation. So you did the right thing by keeping things in between you and her. And that stinks, that's an awful situation, because she should be able to go to him and say what's going on. But if he's emotionally closed off, that's a situation where at least she has you. At least she has someone that can show her that when things are scary and things are hard, mom's there, right? So that's a good thing. That's a really good thing. And I'm sorry that's the case. And like I said, at least there's one person that gets it. There's one person that's trying to understand, or one person that's on her side. And because of that, as she grows up, you're 8 years old, there will be some things that need to be addressed psychologically, maybe when she gets older, things that need to be addressed. But because there's one parent that understands her and is not being narcissistic or being manipulative or controlling, that's going to help her give her a basis in reality, right? The girlfriend has been very jealous, insecure, and controlling, trying to text me and call me on the father's behalf. Okay, why is she Why does she feel jealous and insecure and controlling? And why is she texting you on the father's behalf? I'm curious what's going on there. And thank you for sharing this with me, iRise. I appreciate you talking with me and just letting me in on your story. So I just want to be a part of this with you so we can talk about it. Okay. Okay, that explains it. So this person doesn't have regards toward because there was some possible infidelity when you guys were together, and she was the one that was part of that, and so was he, right? She's jealous of you because she thinks he'll go back and he'll do it again, because it sounds like there's no, no, there's no secureness there. So I think you're absolutely right. It makes sense too, because let me go up here and let me read this again. Yeah, so Janae, these cards come up like I was talking about. So let's go into a little more detail here. We have the Tower in reverse and we have Judgment in reverse. Okay, these two cards right here. These are someone who's refusing to understand the spiritual nature of things, refusing to go with the flow. And this could also be seen as a very insecure person, which is what you just said, right? But someone who's not spiritually connected at all, someone who's very, very, maybe they're super materialistic, or they're really into just themselves. They can be that kind of thing too. The Tower in reverse is someone who's refusing to see a situation that's falling apart. So you said, so instead of very closed off, always thinking me and him will rekindle, always wants to track him during visitation. So instead of co-parenting with him, she wants me to deal with her. Okay, so she's... Wow, okay. Okay, and I understand that. So then, do you feel like, because of what we're talking about here, do you feel like she's sort of, in a way, she's punishing you by neglecting your child? Do you feel like that's kind of what's happening here? Or having your child be left out? Because to me, that's what it sounds like. Okay. Okay. Okay, and that's a self-centered. I mean, obviously you know this. You know this, right? She wants the father to herself for their family. And that person to me is what you call a homewrecker, right? They come in and they dig their claws in. They're very insecure. They're like evil, vindictive people and controlling. So, yes, absolutely. Absolutely, she's selfish. 100%. Could not agree more with that statement. Mm. But that's what I see is going on here. And I honestly feel like I rise, and this maybe sounds like keep being that connection for your child. Keep being the person she can go to. which I'm sure you will. I have no doubt about that. She's going to need that as she grows up. In this situation, if the father is not going to take responsibility and the girlfriend is actually kind of moving forward in the fact that she's being more neglectful, right? The best thing to do is to just be there for your child when she's with you, which it sounds like, thank God, it's most of the time, like a huge portion of the time. But that's going to be something moving forward that, as long as you keep the communication open with your child, that's going to be good. Okay. And I feel like Amira is going to be someone who, like, hold on. I feel like Amira is going to be someone who is upset that this is happening with her father, but her father didn't have the capacity anyway to be there. It sounds like he's pretty closed off. And it's like, okay, and it's like if you date someone with a child and the other parent is open, I would think initially you would be more open, but she wasn't until my daughter started speaking against her. Okay. More open, but she wasn't until my daughter started speaking against her. Okay. Okay. So this Janae person sounds like someone who was kind of waiting for a reason for something to happen, and then when it did, then she can cast all of her aspersions and all of her blaming onto someone. And like I said, best thing to do in this situation is the fact that you're there. She called me trying to defend her position. Yeah, against an 8-year-old. Wow. Okay. Right, making you feel guilty, like immediately trying to make you feel like she does so much you have no idea, right? You understand what she's doing. You know she's trying to manipulate you. So that's good. That's good that you can see through that. And does so much for her. Okay, okay. I got you. To me, what it sounds like, I rise here. To me, what it sounds like is going on is that she was waiting for a reason to be upset. Okay, this seems like a person who's always upset. They always have something going on. And when your daughter said something, then she kind of went off and she had a quote unquote reason. She really didn't, but this person is looking for any excuse to just sort of do that. Yes, like the father does nothing and she is the one doing everything when she visits them. Okay, okay. So, odds are, right here I rise, the father was never fit, was never fit to be a father in that way. Yes, and now they are getting married, and my baby is so confused, saying that is her step parent. Hmm. Hmm. Is there any way, I rise, that you could get full custody of Amira? Is that something you could do? Even though I understand Amira probably wouldn't understand what's happening if that was something that you did. But this needs to be something that if you can look at that, it sounds like if you're defending yourself against an 8-year-old, or you're trying to defend your position against an 8-year-old child, yeah. Absolutely. I told her that someone is your step parent when you feel that in your heart. Absolutely. 100% true, I rise. I like how you are. You're leading with your heart and you're showing your child. So you do have sole custody since the divorce. So I'm wondering if the once a month visits, was that your idea that she gets to spend one weekend there? just kind of being nice and saying, you know, this is your daughter. I want you to be a parent to this child. His idea. Okay. So it was his idea, yet he does nothing to sort of move things along, and he's called her a liar. He took me to court to reduce his visitation. So does that mean he took you to court to make it so he doesn't have to see her as much? Wow. Man, just gonna say that's a piece of shit right there. That person doesn't deserve to be. I'm sorry, I rise that you're going through that. That's awful. He lives 20 minutes away, huh? And it's not even a few hours. It's not even a few hours. It's 20 minutes. And he can't even muster up the courage to. Wow. Hmm. Close to the same age, I rise. So I'll say this so that you can. Maybe it will help. I don't know. But close to the same age that your daughter's at. Okay, I'm 32 now, but I was around 9 or 10. You didn't know at the time, I rise. You didn't know. How could you have known? Right now, when we know better, we do better. But in that case, you just didn't know, and that's okay. That's okay. It's not. I honestly think sometimes we're here to learn lessons, and sometimes they're very painful lessons. I had similar experiences with um, my mom when she moved, right? When she decided that she had to leave me behind when I was 10 years old and just went to go live in a different state. And with a very narcissistic man who she's still married to today, a very not a nice person in the slightest. And I'll say this though, having a parent, you, in this situation that is giving her, like I keep saying, you're giving her presence, you're giving her the ability to speak freely and to know that she's safe when she's with you. That is such a huge thing, because when I was growing up, I had that with my dad a little bit, but I didn't get that emotional presence. I didn't get that. So at least you're looking at her and validating her inner world and saying what's going on with you, and she can come to you. So I want you to know that you're doing the best you can given what you have, and to me it sounds like you're an amazing parent. So I really feel like she's very fortunate to have you. The other guy, I don't give a shit about him, okay? But you are doing really good, and you're trying to look out for the well-being of your child, and I feel like you're doing a very good job with that. So I don't know if that's any solace to you, but because my mom left when she did, I'm working through stuff now. I'm understanding things now. Um, but there's some wounds there, and for your daughter, there will also be some wounds, but that's okay, because you can talk about it and you can work through those things as she gets older, because this person is not able to give them presence. I am trying to protect her the best way I can, although I'm not sure. Although I'm not there when this happens. Right, yes. Mm. What would be the response? Yes, absolutely. Absolutely, Irise. And thank you for your condolences for that. I'm not saying that so that you can, feel sorry for me kind of a thing. I'm saying that to let you know that things happen in our lives, and they're I feel like we're meant to experience those things, right? In order to build our character, in order to build our soul. Exactly. He doesn't validate her emotions or needs. No, he doesn't. He doesn't. And a lot of men don't know how to do that. They just have no idea how to do it. Not that that's any excuse. Okay? That's no excuse, because to me, she's getting the cold shoulder from her own father. That's not right. That is not right. But as long as she has someone, you, as long as she has that, that's awesome. That gives her an anchor into the world. That gives her an emotional anchor in the world. And she gets to know that her world is safe when she's with you. So that's a good thing. And yeah, absolutely. No problem there. No problem. And let her, this is going to be a hard part right here. I'm sure you're well aware of this, but I feel like because of how negligent the husband is when she's with you, right? There's going to be times, especially now, where we're going to be entering 9, 10, 11, 12, and eventually puberty age, eventually she's going to be testing her boundaries with you, and she's going to see what will and won't be tolerated. And I feel like that's absolutely normal for her to express these things. But again, as long as you show her that she can express that she doesn't like something, even that she doesn't like something that you're doing, but she's still safe, that's going to be huge. Yes, he doesn't answer the phone most of the time, says he will do this and that, and doesn't. Right. And he probably says he'll do this and that so that you'll stop talking about it, right? And then he never does it. So he's being very avoidant with his words and his actions, because you can say so many things, but it's the doing that matters. It's the actions. I can say, I'm going to help you move, right? When you need me, I'm going to help you move. But then I could just not do it, right? If the person is helping you move, then you understand their intentions. And it sounds like to me this person is a grade A bullshitter. They just like to talk to hear themselves speak. And then that's it right there. It just sounds to me that it wasn't an ideal situation. But again, you didn't know who he was at the time. Had you have known, I'm sure you never would have gotten with him. But now, even though he's not there for her, you are, and he gave you, in a way, he gave you a beautiful gift, your daughter. And she sounds like a lovely, lovely girl. And so to me, that's a good thing that came out of it. And you can protect that sacred kind of connection that you have with her by, again, giving her space, allowing her to speak, which is what you're doing, so. Right, and the reason she takes her emotions out on you is because she can't do it anywhere else. She would be in danger in a way if she did that around her father or around the girlfriend, and she can't do that. And so she has to hold in all these emotions, these ways of feeling, until she gets home, and then she has to let them out some way. And if we can do something constructive with that, like for instance, I would almost say take her to like a self-defense class. Get her mind, because there's going to be a lot of energy and a lot of things that she's working through because there's a lot of emotions. If she can play sports, do karate, do something where we're taking our body and our mind and we're being more disciplined with how we handle things, that can help her understand her emotions actually flow, and they have power, but there can be a discipline with that as well. So if there was something productive that you could do emotionally to help her, right? I wonder if he is trying to turn her against me because he has been very spiteful since the divorce, child support, etc. it sounds to me like if he's trying to do it, he sounds like he's pretty dumb, right? I would think if you were good at trying to turn someone against you, you would, yes, I've put her in track. She went to the Junior Olympics her first season this year. Awesome, awesome. That's good. That's good. That gives her something productive. But if he's trying to turn her against you, he's not doing a very good job. I don't think it's going to work. I don't, because he's not respecting her world. That's exactly what I did and has helped her tremendously. Good, good, perfect. So that's going to be something that can help her. That's going to be something where she can feel like she's in charge of her world. She can feel like she has some control in that sense. And that's good because you're showing, or you're raising her confidence, and that's going to help her to be a better overall person, because she can take that and she can put it into something constructive. So you're doing good. You've got Parenting Down 101. You're doing really good with this. So but like I'm saying, the only thing I feel like we could do is basically just letting her go through this for as long as possible, right? In a way, if it gets bad, you pull her out of the situation. If for some reason you can take the dad to court and you get full custody and there is no way of him seeing the child, that's going to be the best situation. A lot of times she comes back from him and it takes her a few days to get her energy back, right? That makes sense. That makes a lot of sense. And that's a shame. But at least you're doing the best you can. I just wish he was too, right? And this is a situation where you kind of are just on the sidelines. You don't get to step in and you don't get to change the situation, and that's kind of the hard part. You can just be there for her when the shit hits the fan, so to speak, when things happen. And that's about all you can do, right? Absolutely far more damaging than beneficial. And I'm sorry that's something you have to go through, because watching someone that we love or that we care about going through that kind of situation, that's difficult. But I honestly feel like your role as a parent in this situation is to guide her through this very difficult time in her life. She doesn't even know it yet. I mean, she's 8. She doesn't know the full extent of what's happening yet. And over time, the safety that you provide is going to give her a way to understand it and know that she's still valuable. Even though her father isn't there for her, it doesn't mean she's any less of a person. It means she's still loved, she's still appreciated. I was thinking about going to Kentucky for a career opportunity, and he told her I was taking her away from him, okay, which made me think he is trying to potentially turn her against me. Yeah, I can see that. I can definitely see that. If that was something that you could do to move to another place and get out of that situation, even though it would be hard for her to understand at first, she would be crying, like she would be upset. She would be very upset at first. But eventually she'd be like, okay, well, he's not here, you know? And that's awful that he's doing that, because it sounds like he is turning her against you, or he's at least trying to turn her against you. That's not right. You don't do that. You do not. You don't do that. I don't know where he learned. It's like he's reading a book on how not to be a father, and he's mastered it, right? And I feel like he's not smart enough to read a whole book, so he learns it in bits and pieces. But he's doing so good. He's doing good so far in that way. That's a tough situation. Do you sit her down and it sounds like you talk to her and you explain her, because the whole thing that she's looking for is she wants her world mirrored back to her. And I feel like when you're talking to her and you're communicating and you're mirroring her world back to her and showing her that her feelings are valid, that's going to be a good thing. And it sounds like that's exactly what you're doing. Hold on. Yes, it's like the way he told her made her so scared. I told I told him, but I didn't tell her. I only told him to give him enough notice for legal reasons, and he went and told our daughter. Absolutely, absolutely, because, right, that puts fear in the child. Because it's change, it's scary. And she's very young, she doesn't know. She doesn't know what's going on, so of course you're looking out for her. And he took that opportunity to make her scared. So he doesn't care about her safety in that situation, does he? He doesn't care that she gets upset. He sounds like a I mean, an asshole would be a way that I would say it, but that's being really nice. When I say it, he's a negligent, awful person, narcissistic, not a good guy, basically. And I know you have, yeah, and then you told him for legal reasons, which makes sense because you have that responsibility. I understand that. So you were doing the right thing. He wasn't, and he doesn't care that he basically does what he wants, and then it's like, oops. But you, it was a contingent offer, not an official one. I was considering moving out of state, but I was still. But you still weren't sure. I understand that. You still, yes, okay. You wasn't sure. You weren't sure. Having a hard time with that for some reason. But I still wasn't sure. Okay. Okay, now I understand what you're saying there. I misread that. And you should be able to pursue your own interests and be able to do your own things without it being something that turns into a situation, right? Mm-hmm. I'm sure you were. I'm sure it would have been the most delicate way you could present it, and you probably would have presented it in steps over weeks, if not a month, like you would have slowly presented it over time and you would have looked her in the eyes and gave her presence and gave her a way of knowing that no matter what happens, you're safe and you're protected. I have a feeling that's exactly what you were going to do. You just decided to stay in Maryland because of okay. That makes sense. That makes sense. He kind of kiboshed the whole thing, right? Sort of sabotaged that for you, and all you were trying to do is give him a heads up and say, hey, maybe, I'm not sure what's going to happen. Hmm. I'm sure it's not. Of course, there has to be a lot of red tape that you guys go through. They always have established friends, and she has other family in Maryland too. Okay, okay. But a part of you looking at Kentucky as a way to sort of escape the situation. Right, right. Especially if the perception has been distorted. But part of you there for a minute was looking at Kentucky as a way to start fresh. Yeah, yeah, and that makes sense. That makes sense. In my opinion, I rise. I think you handled and are handling the situation beautifully, but sometimes we do everything right and it still doesn't work out the way we're thinking. Right. Yes, honestly, I wanted a new beginning. Of course you did. Of course you did. And you wanted your daughter to be there for that. You wanted to have something where you're both experiencing newness and where there was a sense of that new beginning. Hmm. You're doing it right. I rise, you are doing it right. I think. I don't I don't have a child myself, but I've done reading and I've done some learning. But he sabotaged that in a way because I wouldn't move if she isn't secure about it. Exactly. That's what we were saying, right? Is that he made it so that you were still thinking about it. You weren't decided on it yet, but he made it so that it was impossible for you to continue thinking about it. And that right there that's gross. That to me is disgusting because he'll go to hurt his own child or to scare his own child, right? In that way. That's a difficult situation regardless. And you can't even talk to him about it because narcissistic people, they're not open to hearing other people's opinions, unfortunately. Mm. No, no, no. I never would think you would leave her to escape. I would never think that in 1,000 years that you would ever do that. It sounds to me like you almost consider her to be like independent and able to make her own choices even at a very young age, so that's good. That's good. There's a sense of power when she's around you, so that's a really good thing. You're going to raise a strong woman and you're doing the best you can. You're doing the very best you can. I'm just sorry it's going that way. I'm sorry that's the situation. I just have to find a strategic way of protecting her with this type of energy. Yes, I want her to feel empowered and heard. Okay, so if that's the situation, I rise. Right, absolutely. And I have a feeling maybe you're being this way with her because maybe something happened in your own life growing up where there were instances where you didn't feel heard or you didn't feel validated and that hurt you, and so now you don't want to pass that on to your child. or you're just being considerate, either way. But here's something we can do. Okay, there's some stuff we can do, but it's going to take some time to learn and to understand. Okay, so as I'm talking here, I rise about like narcissistic abuse and narcissism in general. Do you understand what I mean by that? Because I can go in a lot more depth and detail. I just want to have you on board, and then we can sort of talk about this and make kind of a strategy or a game plan, so to speak. Yes, wasn't hurt or validated. My mom chose my dad despite how I felt uncomfortable and unstable at home. Always felt the need to protect my mom and fight my dad if necessary because of the way he treated her. Okay. Okay, so that makes a lot of sense, right? And you don't want to have the same situations. You don't want to have that happen. You want your little girl to be a little girl. You don't want her to feel like she has to be a protector at a young age, or that she has to step in and be a parent at a young age, right? I had to do that with my mom. I had to step in and kind of be a parent when I was around 13, 14 years old with her. And anyway, so I understand where you're coming from. You want to do this right. So, okay, yes, I do know about narcissism. Would love to learn more. Okay, so let's talk about this, okay? And as we're talking about this, the very first thing we're going to do is I want you, for you, I want you to learn this, but it's also for your daughter, okay? There are some great people on YouTube that are not me, because I'm not a therapist. I know about this kind of stuff, but the people I'm going to be talking about deal specifically with narcissism in parents, anyway, they talk about a lot of different things. So I'm going to put those names down right now. I'm just going to type them out instead of saying them, and then you can go and do that. Yes, I intentionally did what I always wanted my mom to do, and would leave anything or anyone that makes my children feel insecure. Yes, I intentionally did what I always wanted my mom to do, and would leave anything or anyone that makes my children feel insecure. So in a way, I rise, and I know this is going to sound kind of weird, but in a way, your mom gave you a blueprint of what not to do. And you can follow the exact opposite of that blueprint and find your own happiness, right? So, okay. So I'm going to type these names here, and then you look these guys up on YouTube. But we'll do some more talking. I'm just typing these names out so you can see. Right, absolutely. Unstable or unaccepted. Those resources, there was another one too. Oh yeah. Hold on, there's one more. Some of these people will specifically have ways that children deal with narcissists and stuff like that. There's still ongoing research going on into this kind of thing. NPD is narcissistic personality disorder, but most people in my opinion, most people will never get a diagnosis of MPD because they're narcissistic. They don't buy it. They don't buy into that kind of stuff. I once had a narcissist tell me that they didn't believe in psychology. Psychology has never helped anybody with anything. And I wish that person well in their life. Whatever the hell they were saying, anyway. Anyway, so when we're talking about this kind of the narcissistic parent, one of the parents is narcissistic, and then like you said, she comes back home and you're doing damage control, or you're, coming back and you're checking in with her emotional state because for 2 days or for a day, anyway, she didn't get that. She didn't get that emotional validation or that kind of presence, right? So one of the things we can do moving forward is, first thing is that you do what's called gray rocking, okay? When we talk about gray rocking, that's going to be that we do not share any more details or information with these narcissistic people, Janae and your husband. We don't share any information with them on dreams, aspiration, goals, anything. And maybe that's something you're already doing, but we don't let them in your life other than we're talking about the weather, and we do some exchanging of, like, when we give a mirror to the father, kind of a thing. And Dr. Ramani talks about that if we're dealing with a narcissistic co-parent, like the co-parenting thing, or if we're dealing with a narcissistic parent, she says the best thing to do is to gray rock the situation. For you, that's the best thing to do. For her, that's where you're going to have to look into more research on this, because I'm not sure exactly how to handle it with a child when there's that kind of issue. I wish I had the answers with that. I know how to handle narcissistic people from one adult to another adult. Not sure how to do it from an adult's perspective to a child's perspective. But for you, gray rocking is going to be something where you literally just hand the child off, Amira, you hand her off to him. And eventually, if you can, if it's something you could do, but then taking away her weekends to see her dad, she would be upset about that, because that would be something. So, the gray rocking is the first thing. We don't let them into our lives, or we let them into a very small portion of our lives. We talk about the weather, we talk about very small things, but we don't talk about personal things. We just don't let them in, right? Let me see something here. Hopefully the gray rock thing makes sense. I wish I could be of more help in that area. You can ask me things about narcissists, like specifically, that we're wondering about, and I can try and see if I can give you an answer with that. But primarily, Irise, you are doing everything you can. Okay, that's good. That's actually really good. Taking her to therapy, that's awesome. That's really good. So hopefully there's a good therapist, right? It sounds to me like you're doing as much as you can to mitigate the damage. Irise, there still might be... Okay. There still might be some damage that seeps through the cracks, but it's going to be a lot more negated because you are taking care of her. But you're doing it right, honestly. Um, Perfect, perfect. That's good. That's good. She can learn that just because someone else doesn't approve of her, even if it's a parental figure, that doesn't mean that she has to stop being herself. So the therapy part, that's going to help a ton. That's actually going to be something that, like I said, that's going to mitigate or negate a lot of the damage. So I honestly think you're doing the best you can. And in this situation, okay. That's when she wrote the letter to her dad about the girlfriend taking him away and he denied her. Okay. Well, right now, the the dad in that situation is basically saying, like you said, he chose the girlfriend over his daughter because he did. And sports has been great. Yeah, so you're doing good. You're doing everything you can. And when she gets older and she starts expressing interest in other things too, as long as you're supportive and you keep being, supportive of her opinions, or you keep being supportive of her expression, that's going to be huge moving forward. But in the way it is now, the way the situation is now, it sounds to me like you're doing absolutely everything you can. And I feel like you're doing a really good job. It's a shitty situation no matter how you look at it, but I feel like you're doing the best that you can in that situation. So you're right now, I Rise, you're saying, I feel like this is kind of how the dialogue is. You're doing everything in your power. You want to do even more. You want to take away the pain as much as possible, and you want to make it so that she is as comfortable as she can be during her formative years. And you're doing the best that you can with what you have. And I want you to sort of have this be something it's helped me, okay? And maybe the way I say this, it might be callous, it might be insensitive, but I'll say it. I'll say it because to me it makes sense. Maybe it won't to you. Anyway, I'll just say it. Um, we come. I honestly feel like as souls, we come to this earth to learn certain life lessons. And as painful as this sounds, I feel like she's learning this life lesson because it was designed for her to learn it. It was this life lesson with her father. It was something she was going to learn regardless. What you're doing is you're helping create a safe space for her to experience this lesson, and it is a very painful lesson. But I feel like you're doing the best you can. But she has to go through certain things. Every person that's born has something that they deal with, something that they go through. And because of you and how you're raising her, I feel like she'll go through this and she'll be a strong person because of it. She'll understand adversity, she'll understand strife, and she'll understand perseverance because of it, right? Because you're there and you're giving her presence. And that's kind of how it is, in my opinion. Does that bring any sort of solace, or does that make sense? It probably is. It probably is. So don't think that this is happening because you made the wrong choice with this guy, or whatever. I believe it was always meant to happen the way it was supposed to happen. And you're there to help in this process. You're there to help a beautiful soul through a difficult time. And so take comfort in the fact that you get to do that. That's an honor that you get to do that, right? And exactly, exactly. Like in my situation and in your situation, we wouldn't be who we are and where we are today if we took a different path, or if everything had been comfortable for us. Would it be nice? Sure, yeah, but also we don't learn things when we're comfortable. We only tend to grow when we are uncomfortable. We tend to grow when we are seeking truth in some way, shape, or form. And because of this kind of thing, she may be someone who grows up and she seeks truth and she tries to understand reality and the world in different and beautiful ways. But I do believe you're doing absolutely everything in your power. So I'm glad that makes sense. Because I didn't want to come across as sounding insensitive, because that's not at all what I'm... Yeah, anyway, you understand what I'm saying, I think. So... Let's brush this off really quick. Well, I'm glad that was helpful. I'm glad that was helpful, and I'm glad that was something we could discuss. So you paid for 20. You paid 20. Did you have another question? Exactly. That's what's important. That's what's really important. Is that she has someone she can go to. Exactly. Perfect. That's perfectly said. These deeper and darker emotions, they're not too much for you. You can understand that she's going through something. You're not making it about yourself. You're focusing on her. You're focusing on her world. And I feel like you've made a promise to her multiple times that you'll be there and you'll see her and you'll be her protector. You'll be her protector's a good word. Okay, so go for it with your other question and I will wait patiently. Okay, career reading. All right. I worked so hard to be rehired with Southwest Airlines. Okay? Right, you got that job offer in Kentucky. Okay. Just got my iPad here. So this an astrology's business. Okay. Okay, you want to launch? Okay. You want to work from home to be balanced with work and your children. Okay, perfect. I can understand that. Okay. Okay, so let's look at that, and thank you so much. You went into a lot of detail, and I appreciate that because it helps us to guide the question or guide helps us to get the answer. That's the word I'm looking for. So I want to know the outcome of the business will be if this would be in alignment for me and my children. Okay, so let's look at that. So let me do this here. Oh. Okay. Let's see what we got here. Just had to yawn there for a second. And thank you, iRise. I'm just going to say right now, thank you for sharing your story and for being open and vulnerable with me. I appreciate that you felt comfortable enough that you could share that with me. So thank you. And let's see what we can do. So what would be the outcome of an astrology business for iRise? What would be the outcome? It's like I thought I was doing one thing with Southwest, now I have to go about things differently, more strategically. Yeah, it sounds like it. It does sound like it, absolutely. Hi, Jada. They are not free. Your name is Bianca. Okay. I've been calling you iRise because I didn't know if you wanted me to use your name or not, so I can call you Bianca. But yeah, Jada, it's one question for $10 if you're into that. But if you're not, that's okay too. Okay. You're absolutely welcome. Thank you for listening and speaking with me. Thank you for my reading. You're very welcome, Bianca. Very, very welcome. I may still call you iRise a couple times, just because my brain has kind of associated that. But I will try and remember Bianca. Okay. Let's do this. So sorry about the guy. What would be the outcome? Okay. So a card just popped out when I said what would be the outcome. So let's see. What would be the outcome of... Let's see. What would be the outcome of the astrology business for Bianca? I'll show you the cards here. Hold on. I'm going to draw one more. What would be the outcome of an astrology business for Bianca? You're very welcome, Bianca. You're very, very welcome. I try to be as helpful as I can. I have a little bit of knowledge on a lot of things, and I try to be as helpful as I can with that little bit of knowledge. So let's do this here. So I'm wondering here, Bianca, with this astrology business that we're talking about here, I get Door to Romance in reverse right here. And then I get Fourth Chakra Archangel Raphael in reverse. Both of these are dealing with the heart. Are you wanting to do an astrology business because are you passionate about doing the astrology business? Hey, Tasha. So it's $10 for one question if you're up for doing that. I'm just taking donation spots. And so if you want to do that, you would be after the person I'm reading now. But I've only got 4 donation spots left, so it's $10 for one question. But I'm wondering, Bianca, when I see Door to Romance in reverse and then I see 4th Chakra Archangel Raphael in reverse, okay, so that's good. That's good. You want to help others with this. When I see these 2 in reverse, though, it's making me feel like we're preoccupied. And honestly, I can understand why we're preoccupied, but would you have the time and the effort to start it up to do something like this? Basically, do you have the resources? Do you understand what would go into starting something along these lines? I feel that you're in love with the idea of starting it, but do you have a way that you could keep it going? Do you know what you need to do? That's what I'm wondering. Okay, so that makes sense. The lack of confidence, need for validation. Okay, that makes perfect sense. I can understand that. That's why I'm seeing these 2 that way. Absolutely. It's like a new level and taking that leap of faith. Perfectly understand. Perfectly understand exactly that. That's kind of the situation going on here. So the way you're feeling right now is we're not feeling very confident. I feel that you have the heart. I feel that you have the heart, you have the compassion, you have the empathy for it, right? But I don't know, like you said, the confidence or the action steps, right? I don't know if maybe we're harnessing that energy. Okay, so on an online platform. Okay. I mean, if you have questions, I might be able to help with that if that's something you're wanting to do, right? You have an LLC and you have your YouTube. Okay, that's good. You have your trademark, or you have, okay, that's good. Working on establishing Etsy. Good. That's good. There, it sounds like you have different ways of making some income, so that's good. Okay, so when you say okay, putting yourself out there without thinking it has to be perfect. So that's going to be the one thing that kills it more than anything else. Um, I'll say right now, I'm still training to be a medium and to be a psychic, right? Right now we're just doing tarot stuff. I haven't been doing any of the psychic stuff. It's just tarot that we're kind of focusing on here. But in tarot, in psychic, in all of these abilities, we have to start somewhere, and we're not going to be perfect when we start out. What we can do is we can join a group. There's groups on Facebook, there's other places where we can learn the ins and outs of how to do what we want to do and get feedback from people in a way. We wouldn't necessarily be charging them any money. They would be free readings for a time so that we could build our confidence up until we get to a certain level of accuracy, or until people are like, oh, thank you so much. I appreciate your energy and your time and effort. But we need to have some place where we're practicing first, and we can make mistakes freely, and we're not putting so much pressure on ourselves to get it right or to do it right, because that will kill the spiritual business more than anything else, is if we think it has to be perfect, because we are not perfect and we never will be. You're not going to be able to do it perfectly. Even the best readings that I've ever done for people, after they're over, I'll think, I could have said that. instead of this, and it would have made a lot more sense. Or, you know, we have to be in the moment with our spiritual gifts and that creative flow as soon as we, and it sounds like you know that. You know that because you said, right. From your personal interest, okay, so that's good. You studied astrology, that's good. And the studying is, that's an awesome thing to be able to do. But the technological part that you're talking about, that's the part that do you mean like using a camera to record yourself, or do you mean I'm curious what you mean by the technical stuff, because I can help in a couple areas. Well, here's what we could do right here, Bianca. So as I'm looking at it right now, it does feel like there's a part where, and making a video without me being in the video. Okay. There's people that do that. There's people that make videos without being in there. Well, that's how I learned to do my mediumship and my energy healing and my psychic ability, is from those kinds of groups where I could literally just do something and get feedback, and I didn't have to worry about doing it wrong because everyone else that's already in those groups, they're already of the same mindset. So you don't have to worry about, you know, the judgment. You don't have to worry about getting it right or getting it wrong. You just get to be a student. Okay, I understand you want to be behind the scenes. Okay. So if you want to, I rise, what I'm seeing here, we need confidence and we need to be able, so these two right here, these two cards right here. Okay. What does the heart chakra represent? Okay. What does the heart chakra represent? I'll tell you. The heart chakra is the gateway from the solar plexus chakra. The solar plexus chakra is will and purpose energy. Will and purpose energy. Okay? And when we're talking about the will and the purpose of the solar plexus chakra, the heart chakra is the ability to let go and know that the universe has your back. So that confidence, that absolutely deals with the heart chakra, because you're not able to let go and trust because you feel like something could happen. Something bad, something negative. And I'll let you in on a secret. Sometimes the worst thing happens, you hear a no, it's not a good reading, or it's not a good, session, whatever you want to call it. And it affects you for a little bit, it does. But eventually, we get used to hearing no. We need to develop a thicker skin when it comes to this kind of stuff, and the only way to do it is to practice. And I have, let's see. I don't have anything specifically for astrology and what you're talking about, but for psychic and mediumship focused groups and developing, I have a few of those that I'd have to reactivate my Facebook and go on there and look at the groups, but they are there. If you look for practicing psychic medium groups or practicing groups, if that's something you want to do, and maybe for astrology, there's things out there like that as well. When we're talking about confidence and healing that, though, if you want, we could do some energy work together. I don't know if that's something you'd feel comfortable with. We could do 10 minutes for $10 or 20 minutes for $18 if you wanted to do some energy work together. to sort of help unblock things. You do not have to feel like you need to do that, but I do understand the confidence being kind of an issue there. Okay. Yes, and then Southwest was a job I truly, truly loved. So it is like grief in a sense with having to deny it after finally getting another chance because I know it's best. Yes, and that's difficult, right? That's a difficult process. And I'm sorry. It sounds like you're going through a lot. It does sound like you're going through an awful lot right now. And okay, so let me do this here. Hold on. Let me stretch my arms for a second. Oh man. Okay, 1 second here. Let me just really quick. So I'm gonna go to the bathroom really fast, and when I come back, if you're wanting to do the energy work that we were talking about, like I said, $10 for 10 minutes or $18 for 20, and then I can kind of guide you through that process. So while I'm gone, if you want to do that, then we can work through some stuff and kind of go from there. Okay, so I'll be right back. Regardless, though, I'm still coming back. We're still going to talk, but maybe we sacrifice it for now. Maybe we sacrifice it for now. I don't want to ever deal, Bianca, I don't want to ever deal with absolutes when we're talking about stuff like this. So maybe what we're doing is we're putting something on the back burner for now, but we'll bring it to the forefront eventually. So I don't like to say it never again or it might not ever happen. I like to be open to the possibility that maybe, you know, at least that's me though. But in a way that if it helps you to make it so that it's unavailable right now, completely understand that too. But like I said, I'll be right back. Hi, Laura. No, I am in a relationship, but thank you for asking. Been in a relationship for 13 years. Took you 6 years to get that job back. Wow, that's a long time. Okay, so I'll be right back. Can you go to the bathroom? I'll come right back. So hold on. Do let's see here. So that's true. And my brother has stage 4 lung cancer. Wow, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Bianca. That's awful. And thank you, James, for the donation. Yoshi, what are you doing down there, buddy? I do appreciate the $2 donation, James. That's really nice. So Bianca, if you want us to work together doing the energy stuff, like I said, we can do the $10 for 10 minutes or 20 minutes for 18. And then when you've sent the money that way, then we can go ahead. If not, though, if you can't do that, that's fine. We can just sort of address the other stuff that's going on here. So, absolutely, all these things at once. And sometimes, especially during now, there's so much stuff to deal with, right? And again, I feel like you're doing the best you can given the circumstances and the situation. Sometimes it just feels like life piles things on, you know? And that's, yeah. You would also like to add to the business reading and do the energy healing, please. Okay. Okay, perfect. Perfect. All right. So if you're gonna do the stuff here through Cashapp or whatever it is we're gonna be doing that way, I'll probably shift it to this. So let's do this here. Okay, perfect. Thank you, Bianca. I appreciate that. Hmm. Okay, thank you so much, Bianca. Thank you very, very much. Okay, so let's do this here. You're awesome. Thank you so much. Let's see what we can do here. So we're gonna do the 20-minute energy healing, and then we're gonna do more talk on business. And to add to that, because you've been so awesome, if you have any technical questions, if I'm able to help from my technical expertise, because I'm using Streamlabs, which is like a streaming platform to do these graphics and stuff. If I can help in any way, I want to help. So we can talk a little bit about that. Hopefully your night is cleared for a little bit, because I'm a bit of a talker, if you haven't noticed. No, Bianca, you're fine. You are absolutely fine. There is not a magnitude of chaos and trauma that's being expressed. You're just talking about your life, right? You're just talking about what's going on, and it's not a burden or a problem for me to help in this kind of situation, right? Hey, you're good. You're good. Hopefully, releasing it helps you to feel a sense of ease or helps you to feel a sense of calm. That's what this channel is for. It's so you can feel heard and you can feel seen and you can feel validated with what's going on with you, okay? So let's do this here. let me get our stuff ready for the energy. Let's do the energy healing part, okay? And then we can focus a little more on business. So I'm going to ask you right now, Bianca, is it quiet where you're at? Is it like a pretty quiet spot for you to sort of just close your eyes, relax, and be in that space? It's what me and my guides do also. We do enjoy helping people, so. Take another drink here. Perfect. Okay, so let's do this and let's see what we can come up with. So actually, I'm not going to use those. I'm going to use this. Okay, so we're going to be focusing, we're going to be doing some chakra cleansing, okay? I'm going to be using moldavite. That's kind of the main stone I use. I'm just covering my face so that you can see. It's a pretty stone. Hard to see. I'm going to do it like this. So let's go like this, and then... Anyway, moldavite, very pretty stone, very high vibration, very good energy, especially for energy healing and energy clearing. So that's what we're going to be doing primarily. So hopefully you understand the chakras. If not, I can kind of guide you through it. During this process, Bianca, just so that we're on the same page, either I don't know, your youngest daughter's in and out of sleep at the moment. Do you feel like maybe in another 30 minutes she'll kind of be asleep? If so, we can do the business part first. Okay, it's quiet for the most part. Okay. Either way is good for me. I'm going to be here for a little while anyway, so we can do the business part first, and then we can do the energy healing part. If she's kind of fussy and being restless, I want you to be in a place where you're kind of experiencing the full effect of it, right? And I feel like if we're worried about her kind of waking up, that could be a situation of not fully getting in the effects, so to speak. I am going to ask this, though. Are you watching this on a phone, on a smartphone, a computer? I'm curious how you're watching this, because when I do the energy healing part, I'm wanting you to, for the 20 minutes, I don't want you to type anything. I just want your eyes to be closed, and I want you to be relaxed. So when we do that, I want you to be, and you do understand chakras. Perfect. Okay. That'll work even better. Yoshi, come on. Okay. All right. So with that being said, we can start, like I said, with the business part first, and then we can focus on the energy healing, just simply because, like I said, if she's coming in and out of sleep, I want you to be able to be fully relaxed. So, okay, so let's do that. Let's use the 30 minutes we got, okay? And let's just talk. Let's just have us talk about stuff. So, smartphone, okay. So then I'll say this right here. When the time does come and we're doing the energy session, I want you to just set your smartphone down, and maybe if you have wireless earbuds, or if you have something like that, or even if you just have the volume on and you're just listening to me, I just don't want you to be typing. I want you to just be relaxing during the whole time we're doing that, and you're just like taking breaths, and we're going to be focusing on feeling that energy. So that's going to be what we do when we start our energy healing. I'm just putting that out there. But right now, we'll talk about the business side of things. So you're the one in this situation, you get to guide the situation. You get to guide the business questions. So tell me what it is you're wondering about. What is it that you're curious about? Because I am doing work at home stuff right? I'm already doing the things that you're wanting to do. And so if I can help you in some way, then just talk with me. Let me know what's going on and we can develop a plan here. Shoot for the stars, right? Oh man. Always make sure to stay hydrated too. Water, I don't know where the camera is. Water is your friend. Unless you're going to be going to bed soon, in which case water is not your friend. As soon as you hit your 30s, your bladder goes bye-bye. I have noticed it. Okay, so that's a good question. I love to talk about myself, and so here we go. How did I start? Okay, so the business aspect of it. How I started was pretty simple. So let me do this since we're the only people that are talking here. Let me go like this. Oh, no, hold on. I'm going to put that back up here. Sorry, I thought it would look a lot nicer. I'm going to explain what I'm talking about though. Okay, so how did I start? So I started in 20, if I can remember right, I really started doing this in about 2016, 2017. So about four or 5 years ago is when I started. And when I was talking about, you're 30 now, okay. How did you make it practical? Okay, and I'll explain that too. So the first thing you want to do when we're starting anything at all, I don't care what it is, the first thing that we're going to want to do is we're going to want to focus on doing what's called chunking. Okay, so chunking is going to be the word we're using here. And what that is we take a step of something and we make it into more smaller steps. And each day we accomplish a small step. We don't do anything huge. For instance, we don't think of the name for our Etsy store, start our Etsy store, and put 5 products on in one day, right? That's overloading us. And there's a tendency, especially if we have perfectionistic tendencies, there's this feeling of having to do it all right away and we have to do it perfectly. But in order for you to start a spiritual business, we need to start in a place where we feel humble and we're in the beginning stages. And as such, I want us to treat ourselves like we're children, okay? The way that you treat your daughter, you're an excellent mom, okay? The way that you treat your daughter, that's how I want you to treat yourself as you're learning these kinds of business concepts that we're going to be talking about, okay? I want you to be gentle, I want you to be kind, and I want you to be just that kind of presence for yourself, the same way that you are with your daughter, okay? That's what I want you to be able to do for yourself. That's going to be huge. So the practical part is however we're wanting to, I just want to say this, is that making sense so far? Just so we're clear. I just want to make sense we're on the same page here. But also, I'll say this. Sorry, my cat's trying to get my other cat. He thinks he's a hunter, but he's really not. Perfect sense. Okay. So then we need to find a place where we're starting out, right? And as we're starting out doing something, we have to realize that it may take us a while to hit our stride. And there's going to be something, I've talked about this before on the channel. Speaking to both ways you've thought about approaching it. Okay, perfect. So let's talk about this. Let's talk about what's going to be going on if we are possibly starting a business. Okay. So here's what we're talking about. I have my iPad here because I can use this as a form of reference for you, so I can help in this situation. Thought about things being simple, then also through about opening up as many streams of different platforms, on different platforms. So here's what I want us to do first. I want you to start with one platform, and then you go from there, okay? We do not do it all in one day. We don't. Because what you're going to do is you're going to be learning a lot of different things at once. You're going to be overwhelmed, and you're going to burn yourself out. So that to me is a no-go. We stick with one platform at first. We learn the in and outs as much as we can, and then we add another platform when we feel comfortable and confident in our ability to do so. We do not do it all at once. I mean, right here, I do have a Facebook that I run the business from. I do have an Instagram. I have all these different forms of media, but primarily I use YouTube. And honestly, that's been working pretty well for me so far. If I feel more confident, I'm going to go to those other platforms and use them. But right now, let's start with where we're at and pick a platform. Could be Instagram, could be whatever, but learn the ins and outs of those platforms. Slowly, over time, until we kind of get it, until we understand that process. I'll show you this though, because I was going to show you a point of reference here. So let's do this. Just give me 1 second here because I've got to erase this really quick. Okay, so that's what complicated it. Absolutely. So you're trying, and I'm not trying to say this in any other way other than to say this, right? So you're trying to look for ways in some sense where we're trying to look for ways that could be sabotaging ourselves because we're overloading ourselves, okay? And this usually comes from that voice in our head that tells us we have to do it right the first time, even if it's something we've never done before. And then when we don't do it right the first time, we tell ourselves we're stupid, we just don't get it, other people get it, but we don't, what's wrong with us? We got to get rid of that voice in our head, and we need to focus more on allowing ourselves to be in the process of learning and putting ourselves in the role of being a student of life. We're not doing it wrong. We're just learning the ropes right now. There's nothing wrong with that. In fact, humbleness and the ability to learn new things, that's going to be something that you're going to feel is a much bigger thing than anything else on the planet, right? Humbleness is huge. And the generation we're in now, I heard someone say once that our generation is not, the illiterate aren't going to be the people that can't read. We're talking about the illiterate being people that can't unlearn the things that they've learned. So that's something that we have to go through. There will be people that will not want to give up the information that they learned that is wrong, and unlearning and learning the correct way is going to be something that helps us. Hold on. Okay, I was thinking of building my foundation from YouTube by making astrology videos, but then I started recording. I find myself wanting to be perfect, but my goal is astrology readings. Not really astrology videos. I'm willing to make videos about astrology, but I rather make charts. And I can understand that. I can understand wanting to make charts and wanting to do that. And sometimes that's another thing here, is that you need to do something. You need to do something where you're focused more on allowing yourself to experience attracting the kind of people that you want to have to your channel. So like what I'm doing here, tarot and astrology. I don't do astrology as hardly any because I don't know that much astrology, but I do tarot and I do psychic and I do mediumship, right? And the way I started out was I did my tarot videos. You can go way, way back in the channel's history and you can see my first tarot video I ever did. Try not to cringe. Right, but when we're talking about that, it is. Giving up illusions is everything. Absolutely. Absolutely. There's actually a funny story that I heard, and it always makes me laugh a little bit because it's just entertaining, and I'll share that here. Benjamin Franklin, right? He wanted to be a person who he really wanted to improve himself, and he wanted to improve himself, and so what he did was he was waking up at 7 o'clock in the morning, and he wanted to wake up it was either 4 or 5 in the morning, and I'm thinking, waking up at 7 o'clock is a damn miracle, but you want to wake up earlier? Okay. So he's waking up much earlier. He's trying to get more stuff done. He keeps adding more and more things, right? And so he starts waking up earlier. He starts getting more work done. He starts writing. He starts whatever he needs to do. He gets it done. And he's doing more things. He's being more productive, okay? And he just wants to be a better and better person overall. But then, and what he would do is he would brag about how good of a person he was because he was accomplishing all of these things, right? And when it came time for him to let go of bragging about himself, that was the one way he couldn't improve. And I found that to be funny. I found that to be kind of an interesting thing, was he said, the one thing that I couldn't improve upon was that I had to tell other people that I kept improving myself. And anyway, it's a funny little anecdote, but when I went on Etsy, I was like, this may be a better platform than YouTube. I appreciate the truth and honesty. Thank you. You're very welcome. You're very welcome. Etsy's a good platform too, but what we want to do when we're talking about these different platforms, so let's say we have a YouTube, okay? Let's say we have a YouTube, we start doing YouTube videos, and then off on the side we have an Etsy. So underneath our YouTube videos that we do, we have a link to our Etsy. People can click on it and they go to our Etsy page. Without having some way to drive traffic, we're not going to be getting people going to the Etsy, right? So we need to do something where we're driving traffic. So there needs to be something that you're doing in your astrology videos that it doesn't necessarily have to be unique or new, but it has to be something that keeps people engaged and keeps them coming back. And especially when we first start out, that part might be the difficult part. And that part might be kind of hard to understand what's going on there. But what you can do is, so we have a YouTube, we have an Etsy. There's ways you can market yourself on other platforms too, eventually. But primarily, when we're talking about developing or starting a business, we do want to work through multiple platforms, but the reason I'm saying to work on just one at first is so that you can understand how the one operates to its fullest capacity. And while we're doing that, we're going to have this happen. So I brought my iPad out and I'm going to draw something. Hopefully this makes sense. So this right here, these are our Well, let me do this here so you can see what I'm talking about. Okay, so right here, when we're learning a new skill, no matter what it is, does not matter what the skill is. This is kind of the situation we're going through. When we're learning a new skill, we're connecting neuron synapses, right? We're connecting the synapses of the brain to learn the new skill. As we start learning a new skill, okay, these two things right here, these are our synapses talking to each other, right? They're communicating to each other. Kind of like you could imagine it like two radio towers talking to each other. They're tuned into a certain station, a certain frequency, they're communicating. But because these two neurons have never spoken to each other before in a particular way, you know, there tends to be kind of a slow communication that's happening, that's taking place. And this is always the part where I feel like we get discouraged when we're learning new things, is because we're not learning it fast. We're not learning it in a quick way. We're not learning it in a, you know, the way a genius would learn it, let's say. We're learning it in the way a normal person would. But for us, it doesn't seem normal. It seems like we're slow and we're just not getting it. So we need to be comfortable. The first thing we need to do when we're talking about developing these skills is we need to be comfortable with being uncomfortable. As weird as that sounds, and I know that sounds bizarre, when we're uncomfortable, it means we're growing. It means we're learning, and it means we're evolving as people. When we're always comfortable, we stay in a cocoon of comfort and we don't usually learn anything new. The older we get, the more I feel like this goes in place. It's harder for us to keep learning new things because we have to keep challenging ourselves and keep making ourselves uncomfortable. Now, so we start learning these new skills. Let's say it's learning how to use YouTube or Instagram or Etsy, right? And as we're learning how to use these new skills, we're focusing on allowing ourselves in that moment to be vulnerable and to be humble. Because maybe we're not quite getting it. It's not clicking. It's not making sense. Hi, Yeti Bay. It's $10 for one question, so it's not free. But yeah, so it's about $10 for one question. But as we're learning these questions, or as we're learning these principles, being comfortable with being uncomfortable, things can happen for us. Yes, my Gemini rising sign loves to learn, communicate, and share knowledge. Good, perfect. So that's a good thing right here. But you'll notice, like I said, these two neurons that are communicating to each other, pardon my crude drawing, these two neurons that are communicating to each other, at first the communication is going to be weak and it's going to take a long time. At first, for us to understand the information, for us to kind of get it, right? But then what will happen is, let's say time keeps going by and we keep plodding away and we keep learning as much as we can. What happens is this. So our neurons, when they wire together, when our neurons wire together, they fire together. That's kind of the whole thing, right? And when that happens, then this happens. And I'll show you through this. Hold on. So we have something here that as we learn more and more information, and these neurons become stronger and they do fire together like I was talking about, we have this. So this right here is showing that the neurons are now connected. It's no longer a wireless signal that these neurons are sending to each other. Instead, this right here, they're connected by something. Oh, thank you, iRise. You're very sweet. They're connected by something called the myelin sheath. So the myelin sheath takes information when we're learning something, and it makes it so that we learn it much quicker, or we understand it much better. Like, imagine this situation. When you're first learning how to drive a car, okay? This doesn't apply to me, I don't know how to drive. But when you're first learning to drive a car, okay, there's a sense of like really being careful with the brakes, not understanding traffic signals. You just don't get it at first. But then 10 years in the future, you can drive a car and you almost space out while you're driving. You're not there, right? You're just kind of going about doing your own thing. And that's what I'm talking about. You've developed your skill of driving to such a high level that you don't even have to be consciously aware of it to necessarily pay attention when you're on the road, because it's already sort of handled. Your brain already knows how to do it. And so that's what we're talking about here. So we're talking about learning new skills, and at first it's going to seem like a grueling process, but eventually we get it. So Yeti Bay, I'm talking about learning new skills and how our brain learns new skills. These things right here are supposed to be neurons and synapses. And eventually you create a myelin sheath, which sends an electrical signal from one neuron to the other neuron. It's like 100 or 1,000 times faster than normal. So eventually you go from learning the guitar and not really understanding it to being able to pick up that guitar and just being able to play it. You just know how to do it. And it's because these neurons are connected, because we've been using them. If we exercise any part of our body or our mind, that's what we're talking about here. So this is like building up muscle, right? Okay, so thank you, Yeti Bay. I appreciate that. These are, I'm actually thinking of getting them replaced somewhat soon because the lenses are pretty damn scratched. But thank you for the compliment. I appreciate that. Yes, this new aspect for me is starting an online business. So like with anything, when we're talking about skills, we need to start small. We need to start small, we need to start slower, and then we can kind of build up speed. When I first started doing my channel, I mean, it took me a long time to kind of learn the ropes. And also, this is another thing that's true too. I've been on camera now, maybe 300-400 times. You know, I've been doing these videos for a while. But when I first started doing this, I was as nervous as you could imagine. I was so nervous doing these videos. I would constantly record myself, hear my voice shaking, and then I wouldn't upload it because I felt like people could sense that I was scared, right? Because I was that nervous. But we need to put ourselves in a position where we're learning. That's me. So that's okay. That's fine. That's fine, because I feel like the people that are nervous when they're starting something, I feel like they're the ones that are supposed to be doing it. There's so much nerves, there's so much we have to kind of conquer in that, but eventually it does get easier, right? It doesn't get easy, in my opinion, but it does get easier. It becomes something that's a little bit easier to do. So, just like with anything else, as long as we're practicing building up what we need to do, we can focus on building it up. Okay, so specifically iRise, when we're talking about this, let's go into some more specifics before we do our energy session here. So do you have any more questions? Do you feel like I answered that one okay, or is there something you want me to address? Okay, so you've been audio recording, then you listen to it, then you delete. Is it because there's a few reasons why we could do that? Is it one, do we not like the sound of our own voice? Or two, I'm kind of curious where you are in that camp, because when I first started doing my stuff, I did not like the sound of my own voice. Hated it. I hated it. I felt like I had a You know, I didn't have that vibrato that men have, and so it made me feel uncomfortable. It made me feel like um, I just have a younger sounding voice. Anyway, but so let's see. Deponchi. I don't know how to say your name. I'm really sorry if I mispronounced. It's $10 for one question, and I generally do Cash App and PayPal, and there's 3 donation spots left. So that's what I'm doing now. But so far, right now, I'm focusing on iRise, and then I'm going to do an energy session with her. That's going to be about 20 minutes after I'm done with the questions. And so, if you guys are okay with waiting, you'll be waiting for a little bit, but I could eventually get to you if that's something you guys want to do. Trying to figure out how I want to convey my information, if I want to write my points out or speak from the heart. Also, I feel like, okay, I can add this or delete that as far as editing. Yes, you can. You can add stuff and delete stuff as far as editing goes, absolutely. When it comes to writing your points out, here's what I would say about that. Do it like this, okay? So if we're writing our points out, okay, we're going to do this. Hold on. Once, then I end up deleting it all because I don't know how to properly edit the audio. So I try to get it right in one take, lol, and that seems to be hard to do. Gotta get my... Okay, so we're gonna do something... Oh, Gwendolyn. I agree with that, Gwendolyn. Absolutely. Absolutely. So when we're talking about editing skills, technology skills, and that's something you learn as well. I've got a few different things, but I do these lives because my editing skills aren't necessarily up to par. Don't tell anybody, please. But my editing skills aren't the best, and so what I tend to do is I do these lives and then I do these fun little graphics on the bottom. But when we're talking about talking, right? You said, should I talk from the heart, or should I have things in writing? If you have things in writing, this is how it goes. Here's why I love astrology. Number one, because, you know, when we're reading from a script, until we've been able to understand what that means for us, we could come across as monotone, we could come across as non-interesting. Because if someone is noticing that we're reading verbatim, word for word, and I've done this myself, I have put myself out there. I have taught classes where I literally read things verbatim, and I feel like people just are not as interested. They just aren't. So the best thing to do is talking points. So like this. Why do you want to know about astrology? And then after that, make 2 or 3 talking points. And the talking points are literally just a line, put a line underneath, put one word, then another line, put one word, and then another line. And then what you're going to do is you're going to go down, you're going to look at those talking points, and then you're going to come up with stuff as you go. So it's like you have a script, but it's also impromptu at the same time. That's something you can do moving forward. We don't want to have it all written down because we can read it like an old dusty codger. We can read it like there's just nothing there. Because you're a passionate person, The heart and the soul needs to be in it, and when we're reading things verbatim, we tend to be monotone. I don't read the way I'm talking to you guys right now. You know, it's more monotone, right? So that's something that we're discussing here. So, okay, so talking points. That's what I did. Key points. Perfect. So key points are good. You understand that? Good. Key points are nice. The best thing to do. There you go. Discovering your teaching style. Okay, perfect. Perfect. So that's something we're talking about here. So let's look here. Okay. Gwendolyn says, when you hear your voice on a recording, you're only hearing sounds transmitted via air conduction minus what comes from bone conduction within your head. Your voice sounds different to you on a record. That's true. That is very true. I also have heard that they have these things called true mirrors that actually mirror how you actually look, right? Because when we're looking in the mirror, it's like it's flipped. And so a true mirror actually shows your reflection for what it actually looks like. But, okay, so let's do this here. So we're talking about talking points. So, what else are you wondering about, Bianca? What's kind of something that you're curious about? I'm gonna go to the bathroom again. I know what you're thinking. My God, how tiny is his bladder? A thimble? A thimble would be big compared to the size of my bladder. So give me a minute. I'm coming back. Hold on. Awesome, Bianca. I'm glad. I'm glad it's helpful. That's what I'm here for. Okay. So that's another thing too, especially in the spiritual realm, is awesome, Bianca. I'm glad. And Gwendolyn says, when I first heard myself sing in an auditorium through a mic and speakers, I stopped dead in my tracks and was like, what is that? And absolutely, it is. Absolutely, it's going to be a situation where it just takes getting used to it. It takes getting used to our voice. It takes getting used to that kind of thing. But so where are you feeling that you could use some more help or advice, Bianca? Where do you feel like that would be a good? You guide me, and then I can walk you through the steps. Because you're asking good questions. You're asking really good questions. Good, perfect, perfect. That's what we want. Um, oh, so Gwendolyn, you're wondering if anyone told Bianca something? Is that what you're saying? Well, let me see here and let me look. I've never heard of Spreaker. So I'm looking at this really quick. It's okay. It's like a podcast style because I don't know much about video editing. Okay, and I can understand that. That can seem kind of it can seem intimidating to learn video editing. Um, Here's what I would recommend, Bianca. All right, here's what I'm going to recommend. I have a MacBook and I have a Windows laptop, and other ways of editing things. And I feel like the best thing to have when we're talking about this is skills and abilities. So let's take this as a for instance, right? I'm wanting to learn how to edit videos. I'm wanting to learn how to get better at that because I don't want to pay someone, anywhere from $100 to $200 or $300 to edit my videos for me. I want to learn how to do that myself. So it's a good idea to learn. Right. You're trying to figure out how to work with the skills you have. What I would say, honestly, you have a MacBook too. Perfect. Okay. So MacBook has iMovie, which is good. Hey Denise, OMG, I was thinking of you tonight and how much you have grown doing live readings when I struggle in my new business. You inspire me to look at obstacles as opportunities for growth. Awesome. I love that. Told her the part where, yes, it's one of those things. Gwendolyn, hold on. Yoshi, come here. No, no, no. Don't bite the cord. Thank you, Denise, though you're very sweet with what you said. Hopefully your new business is going well. Are you doing the soaps? Is that what you're doing? Like for your voice, like what I said about the True Mirror, but for your voice, absolutely. Come here, come here. Nice little gray jelly bean. You go out there. Yoshi is filled with the piss and vinegar tonight. Hi, Angel Fernandez. Thank you for liking and subscribing. That's very nice of you to do. I don't do free readings. I do appreciate that, but if you feel like you want to take away the subscribe and the like, I could understand that too. But I charge $10 per question, and I'm going to be working with this person for a little while. So you'd be waiting for a little bit, even if you paid. But thank you for stopping by the channel. I do appreciate that. Yes, you have a skill with this, LOL, with new businesses. I've always wanted to do entrepreneurial stuff, and so when it comes to business and things like that, I like talking about this kind of stuff. And I honestly feel like learning how to use, let's say you have a MacBook, learning how to use iMovie is going to be helpful. Or learning how to use, I feel like iMovie is a good start. And then a lot of people say, well, I don't know how to do this, I don't know how to do that. You can watch a video on how to edit videos, which sounds weird, I know, but anything that we want to learn is freely available online. We no longer have the excuse of being like, you know, I can't learn it, or I don't know how. There's a lot of places where we can learn those skills, and to me, that's going to be good. Like a business consult. Awesome. Well, I'm glad you feel that way. I'm glad you feel comfortable with that. Denise, you are in no way interrupting. You're just being very kind. Hopefully the soap business, like I said, I might have to buy some from you just to be supportive, but also to see what the soaps are, you know. I do enjoy cleaning myself. That doesn't sound weird, does it? That sounds like a normal thing people would say in a normal conversation. Hi, I enjoy cleaning myself. How about you? Okay. I didn't even know that's what you could do with iMovie. Thank you so much. Yes, iMovie helps you edit. And then you can also learn how to I wouldn't face P. I wouldn't either. I would never face P. Sorry, I shouldn't be that way. I wouldn't face any. Okay, so okay, more programs for editing. Okay. Well, you're good. You're good, Bianca. Okay, so there are other programs. If for some reason iMovie is not your cup of tea, there is no. You're good, Bianca. Everything's fine. Don't worry about it. You're just fine. There is DaVinci Resolve as well. And that's a free editing program. There are premium features with it that you need to buy, but nothing that you're doing I don't think would require the premium features. But yeah, the okay, on Apple. Okay. So as it comes to this kind of stuff, learning how to edit on iMovie. Okay, you have an iPhone and a Mac. Good. That's a good start. That's going to help you. I feel like that's going to help you. So we can record on the iPhone, and then we can send it to the Mac. And that should be pretty straightforward. That's pretty plug and play kind of stuff going on there. There's other things we can do as well with the Mac that I feel like help. You can have this. So I've got an iPad, a MacBook, an iPhone, you know, all that stuff. I've got all that stuff. But something we can do which is interesting is that with a MacBook, right, we can do scripts. We can do scripts that we can read from, or we can have something there. So if we're feeling nervous or we want to have something, we can type something up and then sort of look at notes. And especially if we're doing where we're speaking and we're not necessarily in front of a camera, but we're just talking, that can actually be a good way for us to get used to the sound and the cadence of our own voice and understanding that. That being said, Bianca, can you tell me what kind of microphone do you have? You don't need anything too fancy. In fact, you guys tell me right now, how do you think my voice sounds? Doing this right here. Do you think my voice sounds okay? Do you think it sounds all right? Because I'll tell you what I use, and then I can tell you how much that is, because you do not need to spend thousands or hundreds and hundreds of dollars on microphones. So, yeah. Okay, let me move this over. You have someone who got you one as a gift for your Mac. Okay, so you have a microphone. Is it a Rode microphone? It's probably something, if it's a newer MacBook, it's probably something that's USB-C compatible. Not home to see it, never opened up. Okay, I can understand that. I use this one personally. This is it's just an Elgato, the Elgato Wave 3 microphone. About 170 bucks, and then I got a plosive filter on it, so that when I talk, my P's and my B's don't make a really weird sound. And so, awesome. Thank you, Denise, and thank you, Bianca. I appreciate that. So, and you guys both wrote the exact same thing. That's cool, and it was one right after the other. I like that. There's some synchronicity here. So that's something there. That's 170 bucks for a microphone that I feel like is going to last a while. And it's got really good controls. I personally like this one, but you don't need anything crazy expensive. And camera-wise, okay, Bianca, what are you saying? Thank you, Gwendolyn. I appreciate that. So you guys don't mind the sound. And it took me a while to get it set up the way I wanted it to, but write the name again. Okay, so I did. I wrote it down for you. And then I have, when you eventually do want to go into doing some other stuff, right? I've got these right here. Okay. Those are, to me, this was a purchase that I absolutely love. These help light my face. Right? That helps give an image that's more evenly lit. And because these are also Elgato key lights is what they're called, I can do this. So I can go onto an app, and then I can do this here. So I can go like a studio, yeah, and I can change the color of the lighting. And I'm doing that from my phone. And yeah, it's definitely an investment to get this where you want it to go and to get this here. But once you've invested, these lights were a little bit pricey, but let's see. They're nice. They're really nice lights. So that's something that I feel like you guys would really, you would like if we're doing something like that. But the Elgato stuff is something I really like. So if you're looking to do something with that, we can. I feel like I'm a little too orange. So hold on one second. There we go. Thank you, Denise. Yeah, but also it's not too bad. I mean, I do have a laptop and I do have stuff connected to it, but right now I set everything up, and so when I'm getting ready to do my lives, is it possible to start from Etsy? Okay, so that's what we'll address here. So is it possible to start from Etsy? So tell me what you mean by starting from Etsy. Tell me what you mean. So do you mean literally just that's your only platform? You're just starting from Etsy? Because my thing that I would say, yes, doing my 3 astrology charts. Okay, so what I would say is with Etsy, um, they have a rule that things have to be kind of mostly handmade to an extent. I think you can do 3D printing and stuff like that, but it needs to be individually created. Last I checked, I feel like you'd be fine. But if we're starting with Etsy, I feel like the first thing we would need to do is we need to get people um, kind of already having the product, which sounds weird. It's like when someone wants a job where you have 10 or 15 years experience, but in order to get 10 or 15 years of experience, you have to have the job. So it's one of those kinds of situations. What I would say, honestly, starting out is that Etsy, to me, if you just open up a store and you put your right until you learn more video programming stuff, and I feel like flush out or finish your Etsy stuff, get everything ready to go, get your items listed in time. Don't do everything in one day, but get your items listed, get your descriptions done, start your store, get things ready to go, enter in tax information and stuff like that. I feel like that's not a bad way to start to get ready for having people to come and visit. But what's going to be driving traffic to your Etsy shop, right? My honest thing here is that when you open up your Etsy shop, as we're doing stuff with that, I would say include a free gift with every order that you do, and it could be a mystery gift, and the free gift would be something that would cost you like $5, and you just put that extra in there and put like a handwritten note that says, if you like these, if you feel like this is good for you, please consider writing a review. It would help me out. Doing handwritten touches when it comes to sending things in the mail, or when it comes to for people ordering things, that's going to help people a lot. If you were thinking of sending it in the mail. It will be. It will be. YouTube is going to be the way, at least for me, that's the way I connect with clients. That's the way I connect with people. And then it kind of trickles down into other things. Although right now, I'm not necessarily invested in the other parts of connecting online. It's just this for now. So I would say, okay, it's an audio reading astrology. Okay, now I get it. Now I understand. All right, I was thinking in other words here. So adding something at the end that if you appreciated this reading, if you wouldn't mind, could you please leave me a review if it resonated with you? That's something good to do as well. Okay. But as you're learning these different skills, look up how to edit a video. There's plenty of ways you can learn. And I promise you, but to attract customers, I was going to do astrology. Perfect. Yes, that's exactly it. Do astrology videos on YouTube and then have it lead into your Etsy shop. Right. Your focus is on astrology charts, but sometimes we have to do something in our niche that's incredibly similar, but it's not quite our focus, so that we can get people to come to where we're focusing our efforts. And then eventually you'll have enough people coming in that it becomes kind of second nature, and it's easier to do. But starting out, I feel like that's a good place to focus, is get your Etsy shop built up, make your prices make your prices fair, but not where you're like throwing your back out trying to do it. You'll get it, Bianca. It's not too bad once you understand it. Once you understand how to do it, I feel like what we tend to do is when we hear people talk about editing videos and we look at the software and we try to do it ourselves, we get overwhelmed, we get intimidated, and then we stop because it just seems like so much. But if you follow a video along, or if we do something where Skillshare, $10 a month, they teach you how to edit videos, they teach you how to take photos, they teach you all sorts of different skills, and that's going to be something. The starting point. That's the starting point, yes. If you just get out there, Bianca, if you just get out there and you throw yourself into it, and I mean really throw yourself into it like you don't have a life jacket kind of situation, eventually you'll learn how to swim. Okay? That's what I'm feeling, and that's going to be something that you're going to be glad you did it in the future. It seems like a lot right now, but honestly speaking, once you get it, once it clicks, it's not too difficult. I love astrology and look for readers on YouTube. Well, there you go. Denise might be your first subscriber, Bianca. Embrace the process. I want you to surround yourself with, there's a quote, or there's a saying that I thought was really interesting. There's a saying I thought was really interesting that I really liked. So it goes something like this. Doubt, in a lot of ways, is like water, okay? And we, people, we are like boats. As long as the doubt stays on the outside of the boat, we're fine. But as soon as it gets on the inside, that's when the boat starts sinking, right? And so when we're talking about doubts, we have to realize that there is a tendency that we think for some reason that we are inerrorable, right? We think for some reason that we know exactly what's going on. We are so wrong with so many things, yet when we're putting ourselves down, we believe it to be the truth 100%. But how many times in life have we been wrong? And how many times has that voice told us that we're not good enough? And how many times has it been wrong, right? I've learned so much from you during this conversation. I was just trying to figure out how to make it practical. Okay, so the practical part is going to be this. So Bianca, you're going to, here's what I want you to do. Here's some homework for you, okay? I want you to focus, and thank you for saying that. That's very sweet of you. I want you to focus first on, oh, Denise, guys, you're very nice. Thank you. I appreciate that. I appreciate that, Denise. You're very sweet. I know it's hard to get ourselves out there and to have someone that can help you through the process. You know, I would have wanted that when I was starting out, but there's a lot of people, there's a lot of places we can learn this kind of information now. But some of us didn't have that as an opportunity growing up. I feel like when I first started my psychic, my spiritual journey, I thought at first that psychics, you know, I thought it was like a whole bunch of ho-hum garbage and mediums were the same, right? But then you learn that there's a lot of truth in what's going on out there, and you learn that there's a lot of power in what's going on, and I feel like the more light workers, the better. This was a part that was scary, but hearing from you, this was, yeah, and hold on. Let me take another drink here. Well, thank you. You're good. You're good. Technically, you said this was the part that was scary, but hearing from you, W2, I did talk about filling in your tax information. And so technically that can be a little scary when we're filling in tax information. I don't want to give it away, but there we are. No, I understand. I understand where you're coming from with that. And because I've been in those shoes and I'm still learning myself, I don't have it figured out. If I ever have it figured out, you guys come and punch me in the face and say, what's going on with you? You should never have it figured out, right? Right, that was an accident. You're okay, Bianca. You're just fine. You're just fine. I do typos all the time too. Yes. Yeah, I do them all the time. But yeah, when we're talking about this, it's just important to keep an open mind and realize that we'll never know everything. And I don't think that's the point. I think it's just to try and do our best with the information that we have now. And then when we know better, we can do better, right? And so that's something that I always try to aspire to. Now with that being said, so Bianca, is your little one in a deeper sleep now? Yes, I do. This is my home. And this is what I do for a living. Full time, I would say I'm doing this probably, it's at least 15 hours a week because every time I go live on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays, and I do 5 hours each time I'm live. And so, but this week I'm doing some extra credit here. So this will probably be a 20-hour work week for me. And okay, perfect. But yeah, I do this full time. I try to, I'm going to be doing more stuff too eventually. And eventually I want to start a psychic school, but that's going to be, Gigi, don't be irresponsible, but thank you for checking in. How's it going, Gigi? So on YouTube, yeah, it takes, let's see, how does it go? So to be monetized on YouTube, it's 1,000 subscribers or 4,000 watch hours in a year, I think. Awesome, Gigi. At least it's going, right? Yeah, so 1,000 subscribers, you have to do that. But here's something you can do. Hold on. Okay. So right here, okay, like I was talking about, Cash App and PayPal. Cash App and PayPal. You can do those without being monetized. You can do stuff like this without being monetized. In fact, because Google takes such a large percentage, I prefer not to be paid through super chats or AdSense in general. So that's why this is up. That's why it says Cash App and PayPal only. So the monetization isn't necessarily as important. And when it comes to actually receiving money for your videos, once you're monetized, it's, yes, I set those up for you. Okay. Once you're monetized, it gives you a little bit more income, and that's not a bad thing because then you have ads that can be placed on your channel. I personally don't do those. Yeah, Cash App and PayPal, that's what I use. I don't do the ads because I get people clicking on my videos, and then there's ads where it's like Kasamba or some other kind of psychic business thing. And I worked for one of the psychic hotlines. I know how they operate their businesses, and they're horrible to their workers. And the people that call in, they try to keep them on the line so that they can take money from them. There you go, Gigi. That's good. YouTube Premium. Yes, Keen is the same way. At least I think it's the same way. I don't know for sure. I worked for, I'm not sure with Keen, but if it's the same as the other ones I've worked for, they try to make it so you're working ridiculous hours on the phone. You only get paid, you're taking $8 a minute from somebody, $8 a minute, and they want you to keep that person on the line for 10 to 15 minutes at least. So that person that calls you, they're wanting to get $80 to $120 from that person. And you're told to talk slow. You're told to do that kind of thing to kind of string people along. And if you don't hit a certain quota, you go down on the rankings list on the website. And so when someone tries to call you, you won't get anybody. You'll literally have nights where nobody calls you because you're so far down on the list, and then you don't make any more money, and then it further compounds that. So yeah, you can do, and I don't know about Keen, but you can do your own phone consultation. So but just the $8 a minute, and then I was getting 50 cents a minute for the $8, you know what I mean? So to me personally, it was like they were taking so much money. And I had some people I stayed on the phone with for 2 or 3 hours, right? And at $8 a minute, that kind of adds up. Okay, so 10 minutes is $80. 60 minutes is, what is that? $480. And so that's over $1,000. Okay, it's the same with Keen. So that's over $1,000 you'd be talking to someone for, and I feel like that's robbery. I feel like that's disgusting. And so that's why I don't have ads, because that's what would come up. Those ads for me would come up constantly, and I don't want people getting that, because it's just. And if someone has a problem with my $10 a question, at least it's not $8 a minute. So, there's that. Anyway, but yeah. Yeah, it is. It's pretty bad. So if I can remember right, I think there's Keen, and there's Casamba, and then there's another one. Well, thank you, Bianca. I try to be thorough with that, because I just feel like I feel like those kinds of companies are very predatory, and it's not just how they treat the clients or the people that call. They treat their workers like garbage. And I had that experience myself where I had someone multiple times get mad at me because my phone call was not 10 or 15 minutes long, and they yelled at me multiple times. And it's like, yeah, you guys are kind of shitty. I'm just going to go. And then later on, I quit. And later on, they came back to hire me back. I said, no, I'm good. I'm never going back there. Anyway. But, right? They do. They have psychics. There's a bunch of stuff there, but honestly speaking, if I can talk honest, right? The kinds of tests that you have to go through to get certified with them and be a certified psychic or medium, I didn't feel like they were that. To me, I feel like if someone was really manipulative, I feel like they could have gotten through, and I feel like they could have done just fine. I honestly feel like they could have just kind of lied their ass off, become a medium or a psychic, and then you're damaging people because you don't know how to be a good person. I mean, honestly. And another thing is, there is no psychic accreditation. I mean, there's the Arthur Findlay College, but you don't have to go there to become a psychic. There's nothing that anyone could say they're a psychic and do whatever the hell they wanted to do. There's no accreditation for it. There's nothing out there like that, unfortunately. But it's also a creative endeavor. It's like being a professional artist. It's kind of like you know when you know, but a lot of people. Anyway, I feel like I'm getting off topic here. So, but let me see something here. Hold on. So, Bianca, are you wanting to do our energy session now? Do you feel like it would be an okay time? I'm gonna use the restroom too. That's what I do. We'll be restroom buddies. I've also thought the information you're getting, depending on the level of integrity that the reader has, is usually worth way more than $10. It is, but it's like, and I've heard that too. But at a certain point, right? If I set my prices way high, then there could be someone who's in a genuine need, and they don't have the money to do that. You know, but you're absolutely right, Gwendolyn. Depending on the psychic and the kind of information or the time they spend with their clients, that's going to be, yeah, I feel like it's worth way more than $10, and it gives them peace of mind. That's what a psychic or a medium should do, is that when you leave, you feel uplifted, you feel like you were heard, you were seen, you were validated. That's kind of the whole point, in my opinion. Ah, itchy nose. Thank you, Bianca. All right. So I'll come right back and then we'll start again. Um, Hold on. I'm going to see what Gwendolyn says here. Well, that's good, Gwendolyn. That's good. And it helps. You know, this kind of stuff, it really does help the psychic to lead a good life too, to have something. $6 is, I feel like that's pretty cheap, but also, you know, and yesterday was the same. Oh. Best $10 spent ever. You're very sweet, Gwendolyn. Thank you. I appreciate that. I try to give you guys something, right? I don't want to just be like. Anyway, I'll be right back, and thank you again, Gwendolyn. That was very sweet of you to say. I'll be right back, guys. Hold on tight. I mean, priceless information. You have no idea how much got sorted out last night. People who watch have to realize this. Awesome. I love that. That's very sweet. If they wonder, should I pay? Should I not pay? Well, let's see. How big of a mess is your life? Well, yeah. Our lives are, they're messy by nature, much like my hair. My hair is messy by nature. This cannot be tamed. I've tried. I have more cowlicks than cow. I don't know. I don't know what to say to that, but it's very swirly whirly up in the hair biz right there. But let's do this. So let's get situated here. As we do this, as we move into doing this with Bianca, I'm just going to move some stuff aside. We're going to be using our Moldavite here, which is our handy dandy super tool when it comes to energy clearing. And it's eager because it fell right out of the container there. Okay. Now, so this will be about 20 minutes of us focusing on some energy. So Bianca, you know the drill, okay? My eyes are going to be closed for about 20 minutes. I'm not going to be looking at anything you guys are saying. And also, Bianca, I do not want you to be typing anything at that point either. I just want you to be in a relaxed space, in a relaxed state of mind. That's what we're going to be focusing on here. And what I want you to do... Can I hire you for business consultations? I might be open to it. I mean, hell, who knows, right? I have 2 cats and a rabbit, so I feel like I could do anything. But let's focus here for a second, right? Let's do this. Let's do gosh. Oof. Okay. All I want you to do, Bianca, during this process is I want you to be in your body and be feeling things around your body. So it's kind of like if you were in a room and you're like feeling the air conditioning or you're feeling the heat or you're feeling whatever. What I want you to do is to get into a state where you're just allowing yourself to be in the present moment as much as possible, and you're allowing yourself to feel anything that comes up or anything that's happening. This can be emotions, this can be physical sensations, but you could also feel the presence of my guides as well. Generally, it's a male and a female guide, and I feel like they use those because we're used to male and female genders. I do not feel like they are gendered themselves necessarily, but they present themselves as male or female, and in this case, I do feel like it's one of each. So they will come to you, and they will be applying some energy, and we'll go from there. So I want you to set your phone down, okay? And you're just going to be listening to me talk. And after the 20 minutes, then you can come back and we can discuss some stuff here. And then that'll be good. Okay, that's going to be kind of what we're doing with this. So let's start doing this and just allow yourself to relax as much as possible. I'm going to use my ASMR voice. I'm going to be a little bit quieter, but also you should still be able to hear me. But let's start, okay? So we're going to focus on the root chakra first, and then we're going to work our way up. And if I'm feeling something, or if I want to say something that I'm feeling with each chakra as we're going up, I will do so. Now, if not, I may not say anything. Doesn't mean anything if I say something or I don't. Sometimes I get messages, sometimes I don't. So it just depends. I will give you what I'm getting. And so let's just go from there. So get relaxed. I take my glasses off. Get nice and comfortable. Okay. All right, we're going to focus on the root chakra first. This chakra is going to be like a fire engine red color, so it's like a deep red color. And this chakra is at the base of the spine, about the size of a baseball. That's what we're going to be using size-wise for all of the chakras going up. But I want you to imagine around these chakras a golden energy that's kind of surrounding these chakras, like an aura around each chakra of gold, a golden white color. I'm feeling a connection here. Let's see. Okay, I'm feeling a connection, and it feels like there's some energy here that's going to be moving through. I feel like there's a tendency to compare ourselves to others or to feel inadequate with. It just feels like there's an inadequacy here. But I feel like you're capable. I feel like you're definitely good enough to do what it is, whatever it is you want to do. But there's a tendency to question the self. And there's a tendency to compare. And the root chakra is about identity. The root chakra is about identity. It's about security. It's about feeling safe in one's environment. And maybe as we were growing up, we didn't necessarily have that safety. And so this leads to things later on where we can feel unstable or we can feel unsafe, or we could have it where we're in public and we could feel like there's some hypervigilance, where we're kind of overly aware of everything that's going on. And sometimes when we're children, that can be something that can happen where maybe mom or dad, we were very, very aware of their body language, of their tone. And if they were mad or if they were upset, we were hyper aware of that. And because of that, it sort of took us out of being a kid. Because we may have to soothe mom or dad, or we may have to do something. And so we're going to focus on allowing this energy to release from here. So I'm going to be sending my guides. They've been there while we're doing this, but you should feel more of a presence as we move further and further into this. So let's just take a moment here. Allow yourself to breathe in and breathe out. Breathe in. Breathe out. I'm feeling more energy here. And as I'm focusing on this, I'm seeing what feels like you as a child, and I feel like I'm chasing a butterfly. Not to hurt it, but I just want to chase it. I just want to chase it to see if I could catch it. But I'm not going to hurt it. We're going to send some more love and appreciation to this chakra. We're going to feel grounded. We're going to feel rooted in our bodies. And we're going to feel a stronger sense of security embrace us and surround us. Okay. Now we're going to go to the sacral chakra. This chakra right here represents quite a few things, but basically it's expression through the body, through oneself. This can be dancing, this can be sexual expression, this can be any way that we express ourselves with our body. And this is associated with water. And so it's about going with the flow, being in the flow state. This is where our creative energy comes from. And I'm going to focus here for a minute. And as I'm focusing here, I feel like I'm seeing someone who's starting to grow and blossom. And I feel like this would be in our maybe around 8 to 13 years old for you, Bianca. And I'm feeling like I'm starting to bloom and I'm blossoming, and I'm feeling like someone's coming in and they're trimming the flower. So part of us didn't get to express ourselves the way that we wanted to. I feel like around this time there was a strong sense of self-expression, and maybe something happened that made it so that we didn't feel strong in those moments. But we get to take that back now. We get to take back that power now. Mm. We get to focus on areas where we get to feel better and understand ourselves better. I'm also seeing frogs here, and I feel like the frog represents wanting to sort of be comfortable in our own environment, wanting to have that sort of quality of just being able to hop, being able to be happy. And I'm feeling like we're starting to find that. We're starting to reclaim that now as we get older in our life and as we get more mature in how we view life. I'm just going to send some love and energy. So, around this orange chakra, the sacral chakra, this one is located a couple inches below the belly button. Again, about the size of a baseball. And I want you to imagine this golden white light, like an aura or like an aurora borealis kind of energy where it's like that shifting light. And I want you to imagine that that's what we're focusing on. That's the love, that's the appreciation that we're talking about. I feel like for some reason, as I'm focusing on this chakra, I feel like I'm seeing the Jetsons cartoon, Elroy and George and stuff like that. I don't know if that means anything to you. I'm just relaying the message, but um, I am seeing like the Jetsons here. For me, that was a point of happiness. I loved the Jetsons and the Flintstones. Okay, so let's go to the solar plexus chakra. Okay, this is about 2 or 3 inches above the belly button instead of below or going above. And this is going to be an orange color or a yellow color, like the sun. So we can imagine like a little sun here, solar plexus, soul, sun, right? So this is the sun. This element here represents fire. And because it represents fire, like we were talking about earlier, it represents purpose, it represents drive, and it represents willpower. So the first chakra is establishing an identity. The second chakra is about creative expression and flow, but also it's about choice. Should I go this way or should I go that way? The third chakra is about willpower, purpose, drive. So we've made a choice and now we're sticking to it. That's our purpose, that's our drive. That's what the solar plexus chakra represents. And as I'm doing this and I'm focusing, I'm feeling that my right leg, there's some pain here. I don't know if you've experienced pain in the right leg or if there's anything there, but it's from it feels like it's sort of like the ankle up to around my shin a little bit. I'm just feeling some pain there, so I thought I would mention that. Now, as we focus on this one, I want you to again imagine that golden light, that golden white light, and we're going to be focusing on love and appreciation for this. This is a very kind of masculine energy that we're talking about here, and I feel like it's something we need in order to help build our confidence moving forward towards business, towards understanding this kind of these kinds of endeavors. When to take action, when to hold back, when to let things come into our life. That's what we're focusing on here. As I'm focusing on this chakra here, I feel like we need to release another person's control. This could be a female figure somewhere in our life. It could be our mother, it could be a grandmother. But it feels like we need to release the fact that they did have power over us when we were growing up, but now we have power over ourselves. And I feel like we need to integrate that into the way we experience life today. Breathe in and out. Breathe in and out. All right, now we're going to go up to the heart chakra. The heart chakra deals with air, and it is a chakra that is about compassion and unconditional love. Unconditional love meaning that there is love for us, whether we are doing something or not doing something. Whether we are, no matter what, there's love. Like a love for a child, a love for just the presence of something. And we can give that to ourselves as well. Self-love. Love is not something that has to be earned. Love is something that is freely given. Love is something that we get to experience. Have a golden white light right now come in over this green chakra, because that's what the color is that we're focusing on here with the heart chakra. It's green. We're going to put a little more energy into this one here. As I'm doing this, I feel like things are releasing. I feel like I'm getting lighter, and if you feel like you need to cry or you need to release some emotion, please feel free to do so. We are enough and we are worthy. We always have been. Always have been. Breathe in and out. Okay, now we're going to go up to the throat chakra, which is right in the middle of our throat. So this is going to be a sky blue color, like when the sky is clear and we look up. That's the color. Like a clear sky about 2 o'clock in the afternoon. That's the color we're looking for. This one immediately, as I'm starting to focus on this, I feel like there's a fist that's coming at me. So when it comes to dealing with self-expression, this is something. When we're talking, when we're expressing ourselves through our voice, this is something I feel like we need to build up. I feel like we need to understand that we were given a voice to use it. That's the whole reason we have it, is to use it. Not to be quiet, not to hold our tongue, but to be uniquely us and to express ourselves in those unique ways. All right, breathe in and out into this one. So take a breath in. Take a breath out. Take a breath in. Take a breath out. All right, let's focus on the third eye chakra. So I want you to imagine your two eyebrows are connected by a line, and then I want you to go up about 1.5 or 2 inches up on your forehead, right in the middle of your forehead here. And this is going to be a purple color. And this one represents being able to see through illusion. It's being able to see the truth of situations, being able to understand the truth of situations. So I need a little more energy with this one. I feel like it's good to have these senses going, the third eye. I feel like it's a good one to have activated. Okay. Breathe in. Breathe out. Breathe in and breathe out. I want you to imagine a vine that's going from our root chakra to our sacral chakra. So it's going red, orange, our yellow chakra, which is our sacral, or our solar plexus. And then it's going into a green, a beautiful green color, which is our heart chakra. And the vine keeps going up and up the body, and eventually it goes to the throat chakra. And then it goes, the tip of the vine goes into the third eye chakra, the purple chakra. And as it does that, you feel a resonance, you feel a connection between all of those chakras. Like how a bike chain works, it's all connected. And you're feeling this resonance, and there's a frequency here, and we're going to start to activate. As we're focusing this energy up and up and up, we're going to be activating this energy. Every breath that we take in, we're absorbing more and more power from the earth. And every breath we take out, we're getting rid of what is no longer serving us. If you want to breathe more powerfully, you can. But we're going to be focusing on building up, releasing, building up, and releasing. Now we're going to go to the crown chakra. Okay, this is at the top of the head, and it's like a crown of flowers that are white, clear white flowers. And the energy we're going to be sending into this, it's cosmic rays. So again, the aurora borealis image, the feeling of these lights flickering around the tops of our head. They're going to be gold, and they're going to be white. They're going to be these beautiful, beautiful colors of love and appreciation, kindness and gentleness towards ourselves, but also in allowing us to connect with something bigger, something greater, our higher self. That's what the crown chakra represents. We'll focus on bringing energy into that chakra. Going into that chakra, we're bringing in all of this energy. Beautiful, renewed energy. All of our chakras are feeling strong. They're resonating, they're singing, and they're feeling powerful and strong. As we do this, it gets stronger and stronger and stronger. We're starting to feel energy rotating from the right of our head, and it's rotating and it's whirling and it's spinning around. And we're feeling this energy, and it's very calm and strong and reassuring. But there's power here. There's this spiral of energy, and there's this power. We feel ourselves awakening and becoming more in tune with our body and our spiritual nature. And as we do so, I feel it is time for us to take a deep breath in, sit with this energy, allow ourselves to feel it, and thank my spirits and your spirit guides for working with us through this process, allowing us to work together, feel each other's energy, and understand your story. Thank you very much, Spirit, for working with us. Please help Bianca to feel strong, secure, and confident. Okay. So when you're ready, Bianca, come back to this session that we're doing here, and we'll go from there, okay? All right. So Bianca, when you're ready, you can come back here and we can discuss. Sometimes when I do that, people fall asleep. If that was the case, that's okay too. But that does happen sometimes. So I'll give you a little bit here just in case you're just typing something. But yeah, just gonna take a drink here. And if you if you did fall asleep, Bianca, or if something along those lines happened, I am live again tomorrow at 8 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. So I'll be starting a little bit earlier, but you can absolutely feel free to connect through that avenue as well. I'll be doing my normal lives. This right here is on a Tuesday. I normally do Monday, Wednesday, Fridays at 8 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. I was just trying this out on Tuesday and kind of seeing how that was working. So, with that being said, you can email me your experience if that's something you feel comfortable doing, or um, like I said, if you just kind of fell asleep, if you're having any different kind of dreams, stuff like that, we can focus on that. But I will probably see you again. Well, I'll see you when I see you, right? But I am going live again tomorrow at 8 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. So, yeah, hopefully I'll see you there. If not, I'll give you a couple more minutes to come on here before I vamonos. But it was very nice working with you. Very, very nice. And I appreciate you sharing your story with me and talking with me. Very, very much. Now, like I said, Bianca, okay, all I'm doing right now is I'm just doodling a little bit in my iPad. So if you did fall asleep or if something else happened, please don't feel like you have to apologize for that. You don't. Go back and listen to kind of what we were going through there and let that be. I'm glad, Gwendolyn. I'm glad you liked that. Let that be something that you can listen to and something you can use when you're feeling like that comes up. So there's no, like I said, I don't want to hear you say, I'm sorry, I missed it, or I fell asleep. It happens. People fall asleep when I do my energy work sometimes, or something could have happened that interrupted that. Just know that you can reach that state again, right? Because the energy that we're talking about here is quantum. It's a quantum kind of energy, which means you can access it at any point in time, and you can go back and experience that kind of sensation again. So, with that being said, and I'm just going to say toodaloo for now. I've been live for a little bit here, and I will see you guys tomorrow at 8 p.m. Mountain Standard Time, or around 8 p.m. Sometimes I'm like 10-15 minutes late, but I will see you guys at 8 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. Everybody have a good night. Take care, and I will see you guys tomorrow. Okay? Toodaloo, everybody.